Call to order for the Watertown City Council. Are we ready, Mitch? Sorry. Thank you. Call to order for a Watertown City Council meeting for August 5th of 2024. Please rise while Douglas Dahl leads us in prayer. And just for anyone who doesn't know, Douglas is a friend of mine, a friend of Councilman Shuddy's, spends a lot of time at Access Ministries, and I got to know him well there. And just a general great guy. So take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Heavenly Father, I come to you at this time. I'm a bit nervous, as you can tell. I pray that everything will go smoothly tonight and that all issues will be resolved. I pray for just a peace amongst each other. I pray that you are going to be here. I know you are. I know you are, Father. So I give you thanks, praise, and glory and honor as you so richly deserve. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Finance Officer Bob Zine, please tell us who's here.
Okay. Tupper,
Here.
Bueller,
Here.
Danforth, absent. Helene,
Here.
Jurens,
Here.
Peters,
Here.
Shuddy.
Here.
Thank you.
Quorum is established. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Bueller, seconded by Councilman Peters. Any conversation on that? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Now is the time for open forum. If there is anyone here who would like to address the council on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda, now is your time to do so. Oh, just make sure the green button is on and just announce yourself. And if you're here representing yourself or some other entity, just let that be known.
Okay. My name's Heather Thomas. I'm here just representing myself. Asking the city of Watertown, this is ordinances, asking the city of Watertown to look into all taxi service companies within the city of Watertown. I am requesting that the city of Watertown actually look at their city ordinance and revise it to not only require taxi services to have their city taxi license, but also required to have their state taxi license, to have both to operate within the city or state of South Dakota. Currently, you only must have your city ordinance. If you have your state and the state shuts you down, it doesn't matter. You can still operate, but you're losing, the state is losing out money and taxes. You're kind of playing the system that way and not doing right, let alone having all vehicles registered, looked at, inspected, making sure that the drivers driving the taxis actually have their licenses, along with their business license, phone numbers, on their doors, front and back, along with having their taxi license displayed and in the car, which is mandated by law. It has come to my attention that there are many taxi services within the city limits of Watertown operating illegally, hiring and having illegal drivers operate their taxi services in and out of Watertown, and defrauding not only the city, but the federal IRS and many other things, using people, taking advantage of them, and hurting them financially and emotionally. Something needs to be done about this. It's been going on for a long time, and this just hasn't happened to me. It's happened to many other people. It's come to my attention, and I'm aware I'm not the first person to come and ask you guys to relook at the taxi laws in the city of Watertown, guys. There's many fine loops to get through the legal system, you know? Okay, The call, you're in Watertown, they call you to go to Sioux Falls to the airport and bring them to a hotel in Watertown. Okay, well, does that derive out of Sioux Falls or Watertown? What's the ordinances on that? Well, if they have a state license versus just the city of Watertown license, that allows them to operate in the whole state, as long as they are abiding and have their licenses within correspondence of that city limit. But if they only have just a city license for city of Watertown and they go out of town, they are now operating illegally and breaking not only city ordinances, but state laws too. No one's being caught, no one's being held responsible for this. It's federal fraud, it's identity fraud, it's tax fraud, it's government fraud. It's taking advantage of people's well-being and their financial despairs and unfortunate events to profit the company owners by having them drive for them for free rides, to have them go work for them on private things to reimburse them, offering sex for rides back, offering alcohol and drugs as a business owner or a taxi driver in return. Out of respect, obviously, I'm not going to name no names, but the city taxi ordinances really need to be looked at, not just one, but all of them. And I strongly request you guys, not only Sydney, why shouldn't they have state? If they're going to be running everywhere, shouldn't they also have state? They're paying city, but what about state? That's defrauding. And that's my request. I'd like it to be revised where not only they have to have city, but state license coinciding it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council on something that is not on tonight's agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll go into item 9A, an approval of a change order for the 2023 10th Avenue Street Extension Project with Dunning Incorporated for an increase of roughly $59,000. We'll go to our Public Works Director, Heath Von Eye.
Thank you, Mayor. Mic malfunction. This is a final change order. It's closing out the quantities for the 10th Avenue Northwest project. This project was initiated in part due to the Dollar General development that has recently been constructed there along Highway 20, and then also to sustain future development for the vacant land to the west of that Dollar General site, and then also to sustain future development of the street maintenance facility for the city. The contract was entered into with Dunnick, who proceeded to install wastewater, sanitary sewer utility for the city, along with some storm sewer, curb and gutter, and street construction and sidewalk installations for this project. The change order is a filing of the final quantities. There was some slight adjustment and increased cost in the sanitary sewer alignment after we got into construction, and that part of this $59,000 accounts for. But otherwise, it's a routine final change order balancing the quantities. I stand by with City Engineer Peterson with any questions.
Thank you very much. Chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the change order. Motion made by Councilman Tupper, seconded by Councilman Shetty. Let's open it up for discussion or questions. Councilman Tupper.
Public Works Director Von Eye. Part of that's going on an assessment roll, correct?
Correct. The costs for the northerly half of the street and the northerly sidewalks and portions of the sanitary sewer on a prorated basis will be filed as a cost recovery on that city land that's surrounding Dollar General. Dollar General, through their development agreement, has already submitted payment to us for the first half, and I believe their second half, if not here, is on the way here for their portion. But as soon as we, the city, were to sell the vacant land, those buyers would be responsible for their prorated share of these improvements.
Any only portion of that will be on the, I'm trying to think of directions out there, would be on the north end toward closer to the west side, correct?
Yeah, so
Every-
north,
Everything on the east side is going to be, or south side is going to be the city's
City's, correct.
responsibility, correct? Can it just come in within budget?
yeah, there's enough room in these funds to absorb this change order, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Shetty.
Thank you, Mayor. Hypothetically, let's say on the south side, if that's just say that we're ever zone commercial property for frontage, then is that something that gets added on at that time for the assessment then for the road construction on that?
Yeah, if any ownership were to change on the south side, outside of city ownership, yes, we would want to make sure that any private owners would incur their fair and appropriate share of these expenses.
Follow up, and just like the frontage I'm referring to, road, the Highway 20 there, if there ever was a adjustment there. All right, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mayor, point of clarity
Director.
to Councilman Shetty, only the portion adjacent to 10th would see a cost recovery to the south of 10th if that were to be sold off or replatted in a different way than it is now. Further south of 10th along Highway 20 would not incur any assessment.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the change order. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, say nay. Finance Officer Bob Zine, please call the roll.
Okay. Tupper.
All right.
Bueller. Danforth.
Aye.
Helene.
Aye.
Jurgens.
Aye.
Peters.
Aye.
Chetty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Item 9B is an approval of an amendment number 4 with Rice Lake Construction Manager at risk for the wastewater collection system and treatment facilities improvements, and acknowledgement of bid awards number 2 and number 3 to various contractors stated in the award letter. We'll go back to Assistant City Manager Heath Von Eye.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As council's aware, we're in contract with Rice Lake to construct our wastewater expansion project down at the wastewater treatment facility. We've set a guaranteed maximum price with them of $48,633,277. This action before you tonight is essentially two things. One, we're acknowledging the final bid packages for the remaining trades that had to be bid out by Rice Lake, our CMAR. They are our construction manager at risk, effectively acting as a general contractor and bidding out all of their trade packages within the work that needs to be done. All those trade packages are listed on the council packet there before you and include a myriad of different things, from some of the demolition work to cast in place concrete, to louvers and doors and frame work, joint sealing, wood framing, dewatering, whole, like I said, myriad of things that need to be put in place in order to accomplish all the work on this contract. We are not effectively awarding any bids tonight. They are contractually entered into with Rice Lake as a CMAR, but we are acknowledging those bids, that they were received, and also the value of them, which is to the tune of $26,771,153 collectively. And then the other important part of the action here before you tonight is we are amending their contract by setting the substantial completion date of September 1st, 2027, and a final completion date of May 15th, 2028, and also adding language in the contract for liquidated damages for not meeting either of those dates, and or the final completion, depending on how that's written in there. But those are the formal actions that you are taking by this amendment, along with acknowledging those bids received by the construction manager.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the amendment and acknowledge the bid awards? Motion made by Councilman Peters, seconded by Councilman Bueller. Open it up for discussion. Council? All right. Hearing no questions, no comments, I feel okay with just a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the amendment and acknowledging the bid awards, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 10A is a first reading of an ordinance amendment to the zoning designation for phases 2 and 3 of Harmony Hill Second Edition from A1 Agricultural District to PUD Planned Unit Development. We are going to go to Director Von Eye again.
Yes, thanks again, Mayor. This item was before the Planning Commission and is a rezone application out in the Harmony Hill area. I do have a map I'll pull up here for reference. I'll share the team's screen. So on the screen here is the Harmony Hill location out on, you got the roundabout here in the upper right part of the map, Highway 81 heading south, and of course the bypass along the north side of the map here. We have got current PUD. We've got a current PUD in place for Harmony Hill, as you'll see shaded in pink here, a planned unit development that was previously approved. Their work has progressed and things have gotten to the point where they'd like to absorb what they were calling in their preliminary plan phases 2 and 3 and zone those as part of this PUD. So these were left out as ag zoned areas and to accommodate the future work that the owners out there would like to do by absorbing it into their current PUD was the best way to accomplish that. This did go before the Planning Commission and was approved on a split vote of 4-1, recommending approval. With that, I can stand by for any detailed questions the council might have, along with Community Development Manager Hanton.
Thank you, Director. This is a first reading. There's no need for an official motion. We're just going to open it up for discussion. Any discussion, Council? All right, moving on to item 11. Oh, sorry, Councilman Bueller. Sorry about that.
If I might, Assistant City Manager Von Eye, this PUD, have there been any preliminary plans put together at all for this, as far as how they want to lay this out?
Yes, there have. And I would have to refer to Manager Hanton to talk more precisely about what all they include. But generally speaking, I believe still on my team screen is the layout of their planned unit development. And Brandy, if you could talk in detail about that, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Heath, and Councilman Bueller, or I guess Director Von Eye, I should have said. So with the PUD plan, this is what is in front of you on your agenda packet, that we have the PUD plan and narrative that goes into detail of what they're proposing to be developing here, where you can see they're doing their the senior living twin homes, and then the Veterans Village, and then obviously actively working on the daycare facility in that southwest corner, and then expanding additional senior living then at the Village of Harmony Hill. So the narrative goes into the greater depth of what they are planning to do as far as the uses go, and then what the regulations for the PUD are. And we've already zoned the area where the village is PUD previously. I think that was in 2021 because that was their first phase. And then that's why this PUD is before you, because it's basically an extension, because at that time they did not know what their future phases would exactly look like or lay out to be. So then now that's where they put in greater detail and then are ready to move on to the phase 2 and 3 of their PUD.
Mayor, additional question, if I might. So Brandy, the like street widths and curb types, ingress, egress, does that all have to be, once the detailed plan comes out, that would have to be approved by the Planning Commission, correct?
So then they'll go into their plating phase. And if they plan on doing, and so they already have their concept plan and their, and then each phase of the concept plan, they do a preliminary plan. That is all approved by staff. The concept plan is approved by Plan Commission, which that has been revised and approved for the concept plan for the entire quarter section. But then for the PUD, they are not, everything will be private, internal, no right-of-way. We'll make sure that all of the access and whatnot meets engineering design standards when they apply for a building permit. This one, they're most likely going to have to do some additional platting as well, but there shouldn't have to be any public infrastructure improvements.
Okay, setbacks are capiche with you folks, but what do we do with street widths? How do we set that up?
So they have their setbacks laid out in their PUD narrative. And then for the street widths, then we go back to our ordinance of the and engineering design standards. And I can let Heath speak to this too. But then that follows set ordinance or engineering design standards.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Councilman. So I zoomed in on one of the areas of the planned unit development, the map portion of it, and you'll see that they do call out in every planned unit development the roadway widths, the inclusion of sidewalk. Sometimes they'll show the setbacks on the diagram. Otherwise, they'll list it in the narrative. Or in this case, it's also shown up here, some of the setback requirements, front yards, side yards, rear yards. They're all part of the planned unit development, either by function of the map or function of the narrative, which is several pages long as you scroll through this. And so that's where staff, before it even goes to the Planning Commission, we give this a thorough review and make sure that all these details, the water and sewer alignments, the streets, whether they're going to remain private or public, that they meet all the engineering design standards and criteria. And so those have been checked off and will continue to be checked off as they come to community development for building permits.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Thank you. We will have this back at a future council meeting. Item 11A is an application for a special event license to Lake Area Technical College for the Evening in the Archway event from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, August 21st of 2024. Finance Officer Bob Zine.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, before the council is a special event. As stated, the time and date, proof of insurance has been provided, fees have been paid, notice has been published. Everything's in order. If there's any questions, I can try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. I will open up a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to testify on this motion? There is someone here who is able to answer questions if there are any from a Lake Area Technical College standpoint, but didn't feel the need to testify right now. So just wanted to let council know about that. So I will move into council action. Can I get a motion to approve the special event license? Motion made by Councilman Tupper. Seconded by Councilman Peters. Thank you. Any discussion or questions, council? All right. Thank you. I just want to say it's looking fantastic. I know it's been a long time, so it'll be very exciting to get in there and for the students and for all of Watertown. So thank you for that. Since there was no questions or comments, I feel okay just going to a pure voice vote. All those in favor of approving the application, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 11B is an application for a transfer of ownership of a retail wine and cider license from Raise the Bar LLC member Donna Marchand to Raise the Bar LLC member Haley Zemlicka, doing business as Raise the Bar at the same location. Officer Bob Zine, please let us know what this is about.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So yes, before the council tonight is actually a transfer of ownership. It's a little bit different because the LLC is going to remain the same. It's just the owners within that LLC have changed. So that's why it's before you. All fees have been paid and notice is published. I can answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I will open up a public hearing. There is someone here who is related to the Raise the Bar situation, but don't need to testify, but if there are any questions, he's here for this. Otherwise, is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? I'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve the application? Motion made by Councilman Shetty, seconded by Councilman Bueller. Any questions, comments, council? Councilman Tupper.
City Finance Officer Bob Zine, is this a active license now or an inactive license?
It's active right now. Yep,
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Officer Bob Zine, please call the vote. If you're in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay.
Okay. Tupper.
All right.
Bueller. Danforth.
Aye.
Helene.
Aye.
Jurens. Peters.
Aye.
Shetty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. We're on to item 11C, but if you'll notice, 11C and 11D are very similar. So I'll be allowing a lot of leeway to discuss or ask questions about both items. I'm going to read them, but we'll take them separately. So the first 11C is an application for a new retail malt and beverage South Dakota Farm wine license to the city of Watertown, Prairie Lakes Ice Arena. Item 11D is an application for a new retail wine and cider license to the city of Watertown, Prairie Lakes Ice Arena. So slightly different, but basically the same thing. Officer Bob Zine, please explain what this is all about.
Okay, so thank you, Mayor. In front of the council now is a new retail for, as stated, the malt beverage and also the wine. This did go through the Board of Adjustment and has been approved. Everything else is in order. If there's any questions, I can answer them. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I will open up a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? Officer Bob Zine, would you please also make it clear to the public what this is going to be available for? It's not for every event out at the Prairie Lakes Ice Arena? Or City Manager Mack? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This is specifically related to the lease agreement that the city has with Watertown Shamrocks. Should this body or future bodies decide that they want to provide beer and wine for other events, that would be up to you all to decide that, but that is not intrinsically approved by approving this.
Yes, thank you. I just want to make that clear for the public that this is just for the Watertown Shamrocks games, the junior team that will be playing out of there. It's only applicable for those nights and during those games, not for anything else. Did anyone want to come and testify on this item? Or either item? I'll close public hearing, open it up for council action. I'm just going to take a motion to approve the new retail malt beverage and South Dakota Farm license right now. Motion made by Councilman Bueller, seconded by Councilman Jurens. Any discussion on this, council? Councilman Danforth.
Thank you, Mayor. So I understand what its intent is. Oh, thank you, by the way. I understand the intent, but just for clarification purposes, Mayor, what you just said is that it can only be used on those dates, and for that, those events would be only Shamrock events? Is that
And I would let City Manager Mack answer that.
We would request that if there was a desire to serve alcoholic beverages at any other city function in that building, if there was a private function, we were going to close it down, that would be a different discussion. But other hockey games, other events, we would request that the council actually adopt an action to allow that.
Okay,
So it'd be a formal request for
Because
that.
that's the questions that have been asked of me, and I understand what its intent is. I know at one point, months ago, there was some discussion about, being able to serve beer at the high school hockey games and stuff. And so those are the questions and concerns, not many, couple, that I assured those individuals that this was really in support of the Shamrock, the incoming hockey program, not a high school program. But Ms. Mack, if it were to, if there was what's the process then if it were to change from only the Shamrock? What if it was somebody wanted to do it for the kids' high school state hockey program?
I would recommend that the discussions start at the park board level and that the park board make a recommendation to the council. I would treat it almost like park rules. You can't be in the parks after this time. The park board has that discussion and makes the recommendation, and then this body say yay or nay, we agree with whatever that recommendation is.
I think from what I'm hearing, it's going to be very important for us to have a clear process that is followed and vetted. Should it expand beyond the Shamrocks or any other public things that aren't school, high school age related type things? I think it has to be something that is a known process, and we know that it comes back here because ultimately we're going to be the ones to answer to it. So.
Thank you. Councilman Shetty.
Yes, and thank you. Just for my own clarification, so yeah, we would have to, in no way can it move forward without our approval, correct? If it went to a high school level or other events. Just want to, make sure that's in the language, and so like some other body down the road, years down the road here, can't just change it. I mean, it has to be approved by the council. So if I understand that correctly, then I've kind of got it dialed in.
Yes. And that is my understanding. City Manager Mack?
Missed the part that you said about future councils. Could you repeat that?
I mean, or this future Parks and Rec director, future city manager. I mean, they can't just go and do something. It needs the council
Correct.
approval.
Yep.
With any kind of action beyond the Shamrocks. Okay.
Our Park and Rec director may be better suited to answer this, but as it relates to alcohol in our other facilities, we have the clubhouse, which isn't really, I mean, there are high school students there. And some of our softball fields, do we allow that? But that's for adult use only, and that's set by policy. And we are not the license holder. There you go. Our finance officer is able to answer that. So, I mean, ultimately, each elected body, would have the opportunity to decide if they wanted to, open that up for other avenues. Remember, the city is managing the concessions out at the ice arena, even for the Shamrock games. And so part of our agreement with them is to share revenues on that in order for their venture to be successful. That's not the agreement we have with, youth hockey or figure skating. And it largely is a philosophical discussion that you all get to have. So again, I'd recommend it start at the park board level. If there's a desire to see alcohol served at high school games, I'd start there and have them vet it out and bring you all a recommendation.
Thank you. Councilman Tupper.
So City Finance Officer Bob Zine, this will be a city-held license,
Correct.
where like softball, that's a privately held
Yep.
license?
So with softball, we have an agreement for part of that sales to come back to the city, but we do own the license at the golf course as well.
Okay. That's my only question.
Yep.
Thank you. Any further discussion, comments, questions? And I just wanted to make something clear. There might be some nights where there's a Shamrock game, say that starts at like 8, and there might be like a Lakers game earlier that day. You're not going to be able to sell beer during the Lakers game. It would start once that's done and the Shamrocks take over. So I just want to make that very clear to people. And this is also, just want to also state, this is extremely common in the NAHL. In fact, it is one of the key elements to keeping a team financially afloat. So just, that's part of the motivation for it. So with that said, we're on just item 11C, which is an application for the beverage and farm wine. All those in favor will say aye, opposed say nay. Officer Bob Zine, please call the vote.
Okay. Tupper.
Aye.
Bueller. Danforth.
Aye.
Helene.
Aye.
Jurens.
Aye.
Peters.
Aye.
Shetty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Item 11D is an application for the wine and cider. I'm going to dispense with the comments from Officer Bob Zine and open it up for public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? Hearing none, I will open it up for council action. Can I get a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Shetty, seconded by Councilman Peters. Open it up for discussion on this one, council. All right. Hearing no questions, no comments, we'll just do a voice vote on this. All those in favor of approving this application, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 11E is an application for a new retail malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license to Dolgan Midwest LLC, Dollar General Store. And we will go to Finance Officer Bob Zine for more information.
Okay,
And
thank
then
you.
this is also very similar to item 11F. So
Correct.
we're going to pair those together as well.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yes, in front of the council is a new retail license, as stated. They have provided, fees have been paid, notices have been published. This one, as it's new to this location, Community Development did approve it. It is a conditional use in the C3 for off-sale use. If they'd ever try to do on-sale, which I don't think they would, that would have to then go back to the Board of Adjustment. But everything's in line. I could answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. And just to be clear, item 11E is for the beverage and farm wine. Item 11F is for wine and cider, but very similar, just like the last topic discussed. So we'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? Close the public hearing, open it up for council action. Can I get a motion to approve the application? Motion made by Councilman Jurens. Seconded by Councilman Bueller. Thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll go to a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the application, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 11F is an application for the wine and cider license. I will dispense with the background information, open up a public hearing. Close the public hearing. Can I get council action to approve the application? Motion made by Councilman Bueller, second by Councilman Peters. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, the motion will be to approve the application. We'll just go to a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 11G is a second reading of an ordinance zoning text amendment to Chapter 21.90 definitions of the revised ordinances of the City of Watertown to define the use of storage facility indoor. Assistant City Manager Von Eye.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second reading. It seems like it's been longer ago than the last meeting when we had the first reading. But this is a return of this item for second reading where we're simply adding a definition to Chapter 21.9 of the city ordinances to define what indoor storage facility is. As you recall, there was a lot of context and backstory on how we got to adding this definition to our ordinance, and it had to do with an applicant seeking a use in the BP Business Park District that was ultimately declined by the Planning Commission and decided not to move forward further. However, we did still see value in adding this definition to our toolbox in the zoning ordinance by simply defining what exactly an indoor storage facility is. And so that's what's before you tonight for the second reading. And I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. I will open a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? I'll close the public hearing, open it up for council action. Can I get a motion to approve the zoning text amendment? Motion made by Councilman Tupper, seconded by Councilman Jurens. Discussion, council. Councilman Jurens, did you have something? All right. All right, and just to alert the public, we had discussed this in a first reading at the last council meeting. It just feels like a long time ago because it was 3 weeks ago. We were slightly off our schedule, so. We have no discussion, no questions, comments. I will still call for a roll call vote on this.
Okay. Tupper?
Aye.
Bueller? Danforth?
Aye.
Helene?
Aye.
Jurens?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
Shetty?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Item 12A is an approval of insurance policies and authorization for payments for premiums for general liability, auto liability, and physical damage, law enforcement liability, buildings and contents, equipment property damage, and equipment breakdown, boiler and machinery coverage, and authorization for the finance officer to issue a special check. Said finance officer, please tell us what this is about.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yes, in front of the council tonight, we do this every year in August. This will be the renewal of our general liability auto, physical, law enforcement, building and contents, basically all of our liability insurance that the city holds. We do have that with South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance. The renewal did come in with a 13% increase that amounted to about $121,000 annually. Utilities did look at their portion and they're in agreement. The biggest reason I think that we're seeing the significant increase is we had some large items get placed onto our insurance. The $40 million for the ice arena, some large pieces of equipment rounded out to maybe $3 million of equipment that was added as well. Otherwise, I felt good about our credits that we received. We get our loss ratio credit. All in all, I think it was at 13%. It seems like a lot, but I think that's more due to the addition of our property and equipment. So I can answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the policies and authorize the payments? Motion made by Councilman Shetty and seconded by Councilman Peters. Any discussion, council? Councilman Tupper.
City Finance Manager, Bob Zine, was this within the budget of what we figured for this year as far as the increase?
I normally figure more about a 10%, so it's a little bit over, but I'm not worried that we can't cover it within the 2024 budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, the motion is to approve the policies and authorize the payments. All those in favor will say aye, opposed say nay. Officer Bob Zine, please call the vote.
Okay, Tupper,
Aye.
Bueller, Danforth.
Aye.
Helene,
Aye.
Jurens,
Aye.
Peters, Shetty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Item 12B is an approval to supplement the Watertown Police Department budget in the amount of roughly $20,000 for unexpected repairs to the heating and cooling systems. City Manager Mack, would you take this one?
You bet. Thank you, Mayor. Chief Toomey is here if you have specific questions for him, but it's pretty cut and dried. There are some repairs that need to be made to the heating and cooling system over at the PD. The longer we wait to repair them, the more damage is likely to occur and the higher the cost. So we are looking to supplement the budget in the amount of $20,000. I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the supplement? Motion made by Councilman Jurens, seconded by, Councilman Tupper. Thank you. Any discussion, council? Councilman Danforth.
Yeah, thank you again, Mayor. I'm not questioning this. This is really a clarification for policy and procedure. As council members, we clearly understand what we're obligated to by law in regards to, bidding and the issuance of contracts. How is this work done when it's under the, it's not required to be bid per se? How do we make that decision? Who does the work for it? Because we got a lot of different things within the city. Let's just use HVAC and stuff. All of our buildings have heat and cooling for the most part. How do we decide who works on those and is there for us when we need to service it on some periodic basis? How does that decision get made?
Well, putting this specific project aside, generally, we have a procurement policy that we follow. So if things are under the bid limits, depending on the type of project or even the cost of project, we do a quoting process. We do have policy within the procurement policy about single source procurement, if you will. So this service has been provided over the life of the equipment, and so they know the system well. They're able to provide the service. Yes. So we do have internal processes that we follow. This $20,000, if you will, again, falls well below the bid limits, also falls within the procurement limits that it could be administratively approved. However, because it was not budgeted for, that's why it's in front of you all tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not questioning it.
Yep.
We do need to get these things, just wondering procedurally how we select those individuals or those businesses. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager Mack, question, was this quoted then? This particular project?
Chief Toomey.
Thank you, Councilman. We hired or contracted with Chomps to do our annual inspection. So during that process of selecting the contractor who was going to do our annual inspections, we had several contractors come through to look at our system and bid it, and numerous contractors pointed out the similar issues. But since Chomps, I think that's how you say it, Chomps knows our system, we did not put it out for a quote. We trust him, we know his work, and I think he'll do a good job.
Thank you, Chief.
Any further discussion, council? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the supplement. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay. Officer Bob Zine.
Okay. Tupper?
Aye.
Bueller? Danforth?
Aye.
Helene?
Aye.
Jurgens?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
Shetty?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. I don't see this on the agenda for tonight, but does anyone on the city council have any comments, future items that they would like to be addressed, or any liaison reports? Councilman Bueller.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I had somebody contact me in regards to some of the licenses that we provided for medicinal marijuana. And I found that, from the beginning, I've thought we should reimburse these folks. And I missed the meeting. I think you had some discussion about this, but I was hoping we could put it on the agenda for discussion for one of the facilities that feels that they've been kind of short-sighted on this thing. So I would request that we put that on the agenda if we can for that discussion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Would anyone like to second that right off the bat? Otherwise, we can. It can still get on the agenda, but so. All right. Thank you, Councilman.
Does
Yeah.
anybody have a question for me?
Councilman Danforth.
When we reduced the fee some months ago, didn't we have that conversation?
Yep.
And as a whole, as to what we should do and why? And now are we revisiting the decision we made for our justification of not lowering those numbers or reimbursing some months ago? I believe we did. I'm not sure. Changes.
I think we did. I think we did have some of that discussion. But I think as far as reimbursement, I think some of that was kind of open-ended. I don't know that we made a final decision unless that happened when I was.
I believe we
absent.
did.
Unless that was
Councilman Bueller.
absent.
I believe the decision was made in some form of a majority of this council that said it's all a matter of where you end up, your timing of your license and I think we said we're not going to reimburse. But somebody can check that out. And I'm not questioning the discussion. I'm just saying we've already had that discussion. I'm not sure how that would change.
Well, and maybe not. I do know that we have a constituent that is interested in coming and having a discussion with us in that regard, that feels maybe they've been shortchanged a little bit on that. And I would just ask that we allow that to happen. And I don't know that I've always thought that we should reimburse those folks. When we changed it to $5,000 for renewal, and those other folks paid $25,000, in my opinion, and I know we had some of this discussion, that should have gone back. We should have reimbursed those people for that money. That's my opinion. But I'm just requesting maybe a brief conversation with that constituent at a council meeting.
Yes, and thank you, Councilman Bueller. And yes, Mr. Fierstead did come and speak in open forum at the last council meeting. But as that was open forum, there was no follow-up at that time. Councilman Tupper?
I don't know who this should go to, whether or not the city attorney or city finance officer, so I'll just ask you both. That's basically set on a fee schedule, just like a lot of our other fees, right? And that's what we agreed upon. The fee schedule is going to be like that. So that would be like saying, let's say we up the fee, to be able to go back to those people that already paid theirs for the year and tell them they owe more, right? Which we never do. So, I mean, I got to look at it on both sides. I mean, it was a timing issue. I don't really see any, excuse me, Councilman Bueller, not to disagree with you, but I mean, he paid his fees at that time. Like I say, we wouldn't go back with other fees if we were to raise them and ask those people to pay extras. So, thank you.
Mayor, may I respond to that?
Definitely, Councilman.
Thanks. Now, I know you obviously have had discussions with the same person that just contacted me. But I don't think that's the same thing to Councilman Tupper's point. I think it's different if you're trying to make comparisons. But, we're obviously trying to have this conversation here right now. And so all I would ask is that we put it on the agenda for additional discussion one more time.
All right, thank you. And like I said, if anyone wants to second it, right, City Manager Mack, did you want to comment on that?
Am I supposed to put it on the agenda? I don't-
If there's a second right now, otherwise it can still happen behind the scenes, or, I mean, if an official request was made. Yes, Councilman?
Here's what I would do. At a minimum, what we should do is see what we previously had agreed to and why. Let's look back at that to make sure. I'm confident we actually had a decision and justification. We should at least bring that up, because I'm not sure really how that would change if in fact we did do that. So maybe that's what we do is see what staff comes back with, or acting attorney that see what our decision was. And then if it looks like it's open-ended, that a decision wasn't made, then get it added. If a decision was made,
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it would change.
And Councilman Danforth, I do remember at the work session, we did discuss the possible reimbursement, and I think that we did come to an agreement that we wouldn't. However, that things do change and topics do come back up as new information is revealed. So I'm not opposed to having that discussion. I'm not sure if my decision would change, but I'm not opposed to having that discussion. I think Councilman Tupper just said under his breath that he's not opposed to it either. I guess I would ask council, like I said, does anyone want to officially second?
I will
Councilman-
second that
Okay,
for
Councilman
discussion.
Danforth. So, and I would welcome that conversation. If anything, it's probably a good conversation to set a precedent going forward and explain that. So is there anyone opposed to putting it on a future agenda? All right, so we have at least several people who are either in favor or slightly in favor. So we will find a time to put that on a future agenda. Thank you, Councilman Bueller.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Tupper, you had something? to add?
Yes, I do. Since we talked about the Shamrocks earlier tonight, I run into a group of people that were up promoting the Shamrocks just last night, and they are still looking for some host families in the community to host the Shamrock players. So I don't think it'd be real hard to find out where to reach out to the Shamrock people to if you'd like to host a player or two. So just if nothing else, reach out to me and I'll get you in contact. Encourage people to reach out and help them out. So,
Mayor,
Councilman Bueller.
I have a question to Councilman Tupper, if I might. What time frame, so folks know, how long those folks will be staying with them?
that would be more of a question for the Shamrocks, and anybody could reach out to Vince Foley. I'm sure that Vince would have those answers. So.
And I think it would be several months. I think it would be, they would hope to find someone for the duration of the season, which I think runs for 6 months-ish, maybe, and then maybe practice time, so maybe a little bit longer. And I don't think that it needs to be anything fancy. You can host more than one player, probably. And I don't know what sort of screening process, but I know that they're looking for people.
Do we know?
How many players? I don't know. I'm thinking that there'd be about maybe 24.
I think it's 30.
Okay.
Ryan Bisgard.
Yeah, I think you're right. I
Ryan
think it's
Bisgard's
Thursday.
the operations manager
Yep.
for the Shamrock. She's been working on this also,
Yep.
and she's very active on social media.
Yeah, I think it would be about 30.
even if you were to go on Facebook and look up Shamrock's Facebook page, I'm sure they have some information on that. So I just, as I talked to them last night, they're still in need of some, so I thought I'd bring it up. So.
All right, thank you. Councilman Jurens.
It's interesting, I wasn't on the council when the ice arena was approved, but the city and the council does take a little criticism once in a while. But I'd like to remind those people, 2 weeks ago, there was such a buzz in town with how many families and their parents and grandparents were here working. They were here trying to make the team. And the motels were full, and the businesses were full, and they were looking for places to eat. And when we look at sales tax revenue and BBB, these are the types of things that are improved by having a facility and a team like this. So good job, Watertown, hosting.
Thank you, Councilman Jurens. Councilman Tupper.
Yeah, there was up to, I think I heard last time I heard, there was about 150 players that were participating in it, trying out.
Yeah, it was a tryout for the team.
So I have one more thing, Mayor.
Councilman Jurens.
Some know that we've had some contentious issues in the past with CL zoning on Lake Compesca. The mayor appointed a group of 3 planning commissions, Aletsky, Dolly, and Todd Kays, and 3 councilmen, Peters, Danforth, myself. Just thought I'd just give a quick update. We're looking at September as our goal to really have some progress and to give a progress report. I'll give you an example. We've Todd and Mike have had a lot of experience in these, and they've built out a very good spreadsheet of some ideas and some themes that the group of 6 have had. A lot of it centering around apartments, others centering around campgrounds, of course. But Todd and all of us, Todd designed a map around Lake Compesca, and so we've really started getting some themes put together. We have work. We want to spend probably another 3 or 4 more sessions and come back the second meeting, city council meeting in September with that's our goal, is to have some more in front of you by then.
Excellent, thank you. Councilman Peters?
That's got to be adopted by both bodies, though, correct?
Yes, it's got to go to the planning commission and then
And the city council.
here.
Thank you, Councilman. And any further topics? All right, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. The August 12th work session has been moved to August 27th. You all should have gotten calendar invite at 3 p.m. We'll have a budget workshop internally. We've been spending a lot of time working on the operational budget, as well as trying to discern out a new format for a 10-year capital plan. So we'll be able to share that with all of you and get your input on where you want things placed. September 12th at 4 p.m. is the official Ice Arena grand opening, and at 4:30 we will do the ribbon cutting. So bring your skates. Everyone wants to see the triple Bueller, Councilman Bueller. So
I'm gonna have to.
I do
have
think
to
a
lose a
calendar
couple
invite went out
LPs and
to all of you
sharpen up the
for that. But if not, please make sure to mark it on your calendars.
Can only do a
That's all I
double
have
Bueller
right
at
now.
this point,
A double.
but I can get there.
You'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. We do have a reason to go into executive session for both contractual and personnel issues tonight. We will not be taking any action afterwards. So can I take a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
Motion to move into executive, sorry. Motion made by Councilman Tupper. Seconded by Councilman Beeler. We'll do the adjournment when we're done. Thank you very much. All those in favor of going into executive session, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We will not be taking any action, so good night and God bless you, Watertown.